Have you been feeling it? A strange and unsettling unraveling. The world you once knew, once so solid and predictable, now seems to shimmer at the edges. Your own mind, once a familiar if noisy companion, has become a foreign landscape. You have moments of profound clarity, immediately followed by waves of inexplicable anxiety. You feel a deep connection to everything, and then, an hour later, a profound sense of alienation. The hidden voice in your head, the one programmed by the world, has a diagnosis for you. It is whispering the terrifying words. You are losing your mind. You are breaking down. You're going crazy. But I am here to offer you a different diagnosis, a different truth. You are not breaking down. You are breaking open. You are not going crazy. You are, in fact, for the very first time, becoming sane. And the chaos you are feeling is not the chaos of death. It is the chaos of birth. If you have been feeling lost in the wilderness of your own transformation, if you are ready to see your symptoms not as pathology but as proof of your evolution, then take a slow, deep breath. You are in the right place. Subscribe and join this circle, because the journey through the chaos of awakening is not meant to be walked alone, and it is time to understand the sacred map of your own becoming. Part 1. The pathology of normalcy. Before we can understand the sanity of your craziness, we must first, with clear eyes, examine the insanity of what this world calls normal. We must look at the baseline state from which you are awakening. Imagine a vast, sprawling asylum. The inmates of this asylum are all suffering from a collective delusion. They believe that the padded walls of their individual cells are the extent of the universe. They believe that the bland, tasteless food they are served each day is the only nourishment that exists. They believe that the incoherent mumblings of the other inmates are the only form of communication. And most tragically, they believe that the warden, a cruel and capricious figure who feeds on their fear, is God. This asylum is normal human consciousness. It is a consensus reality, the simulation, the cultural trance. What does it mean to be sane within this asylum? It means you adapt well to the delusion. It means you decorate your cell nicely. You learn to enjoy the bland food. You become fluent in the language of gossip, of judgment, of small talk. You learn the rules of the asylum, the rules of competition, of scarcity, of comparing your cell to your neighbor's cell. And you learn to fear the warden, to obey his contradictory commands, to live your life in a way that avoids punishment and seeks his meager rewards. A sane, normal, well-adjusted person in our world is someone who is running the program of the ego without question. They are identified with their thoughts. They believe their purpose is to accumulate wealth, status, and pleasure. They are terrified of death. They believe they are a separate self, living in a hostile, random universe. They have completely forgotten their true nature. They are, from a spiritual perspective, profoundly and deeply asleep. They are the inmates who do not know they are in an asylum. Now, what happens to an inmate who begins to wake up? What happens to the one who starts to see cracks in the padded walls? The one who remembers the taste of real food, the sound of real music? The one who starts to question the authority of the warden? The other inmates look at this person and say, he is going crazy. The asylum's doctors, the priests of simulation, the psychiatrists, the dogmatic religious leaders, the mainstream media, rush in to offer a diagnosis. You are having a breakdown. You have an anxiety disorder. You are losing touch with reality. They offer medication to dull the memory of the sun. They offer therapy to help you adjust back to the reality of the cell. Their entire function is to protect the integrity of the collective delusion. You are this inmate who is waking up. The craziness you are feeling is the friction between two worlds. It is the pain of your soul trying to break free from the straitjacket of your conditioned personality. It is a disorientation of your eyes adjusting to a light they have not seen for lifetimes. So let us be absolutely clear. The anxiety, the confusion, the emotional highs and lows, the feeling of being untethered from reality, these are not symptoms of your illness. They are the symptoms of your healing. They are the signs that the old, insane program is beginning to crumble. And the proof of your sanity is that you are the one who is finally, for the first time, questioning the sanity of the asylum itself. Part 2. The energetic upgrade, when the old wiring blows. Let us now move to the first and most visceral category of proof, the strange and often alarming symptoms that occur in your physical and energetic body. The hidden voice tells you are sick or dying. The truth is, your entire operating system is undergoing a massive energetic upgrade. Imagine you've been living your whole life in an old house, wired for the low-wattage electricity of the early 20th century. The wiring is old, frayed, and designed to handle only a small electrical load. Now, an engineer comes along and connects your house to a brand new, high-powered fusion generator. What happens? The lights flicker wildly. The fuses blow. Appliances spark and shut down. The old wiring, unable to handle the massive new influx of energy, begins to overload. The entire system seems to be breaking down. This is what is happening in your body. Your body-mind system was wired for the low-frequency energy of the old paradigm, the energy of fear, of stress, of survival. Now your soul, your higher self, has begun to download a new, high-frequency energy into your system, the energy of love, of unity, of your own awakening consciousness. And your old wiring is blowing out. This is the source of the so-called Ascension symptoms. Let's look at the proof. Proof number 1, the physical fluctuations. Do you experience sudden waves of inexplicable fatigue, where you feel so bone-tired you can barely move? This is not laziness. This is your system rebooting. Your body is using immense amount of energy to rewire your nervous system and to purge dense, old, toxic energies from your cells. In these moments, your only job is to surrender and rest. You are a caterpillar in a chrysalis. The messy, exhausting work of transformation is happening on a level you cannot see. Conversely, do you have moments, often in the middle of the night, where you wake up with a surge of buzzing, electrical energy, your heart racing, your whole body vibrating? You are not having a panic attack. You are experiencing a direct download of a new frequency. Your system is being infused with a high voltage, current of light code. Again, the work is not to fear it, but to breathe with it, to allow it to act as a conscious conduit for this energetic upgrade. You may also experience strange aches and pains that migrate around your body for no reason, ringing in the ears, the sound of your nervous system tuning to a new frequency, dizziness, vertigo, or changes in your vision, the literal upgrading of your perceptual hardware. These are not signs of illness. They are signs of rewiring. Proof number 2, the emotional roller coaster. You find yourself on a profound emotional roller coaster. One day, you feel a blissful, expansive sense of connection and love for all beings. The next day, you are plunged into a deep, dark well of inexplicable sadness, anger, or fear. The hidden voice calls this bipolar disorder or emotional instability. The truth is, you are undergoing a rapid energetic purging. The new, high-frequency light that is pouring into your system is like a powerful solvent. It is dissolving and bringing to the surface all the old, dense, repressed emotional energy you have been storing in your cellular memory for lifetimes. That sudden, seemingly random wave of grief is not about something that happened today. It is the grief of your ancestors, the grief of collective, being released from your field. That surge of irrational anger is a pocket of repressed rage finally being given permission to move. You are not going crazy. You are getting clean. Your job is not to analyze or identify with these emotions. Your job is to be the calm, compassionate space in which they can finally arise, be felt, and be released. You are the alchemist, allowing the lead of old pain to be burned away in the fire of your awareness, leaving only the gold of your pure being. Proof number 3, the shift in physical needs. You may find your body's needs changing dramatically. The foods you used to love now feel heavy and toxic. You may feel a pull towards cleaner, lighter, more high-vibrational foods, or you may lose your appetite altogether for periods of time. You may find your sleep patterns are completely disrupted. You may need more sleep than ever before, or you may find you can get by on very little. You may feel a sudden intolerance for alcohol or other substances that lower your frequency. This is not a disorder. This is your body's innate intelligence guiding you. As your vibrational frequency rises, your body can no longer tolerate the dense, low-frequency energies it used to handle. It is craving a new kind of fuel that matches its new operating system. To listen to these new needs, to honor them even if they seem strange, is a crucial part of supporting your own upgrade. You are not sick. Your body is simply demanding a higher grade of fuel for its journey into a higher dimension of being. Part 3. The cognitive unraveling. When the old map burns, the upgrade is not just energetic and emotional. It is profoundly cognitive. The very structure of your mind, your perception of reality, is being dismantled and reassembled. This can be the most disorienting and terrifying part of the process. It can truly feel like you are losing your mind. But you are not losing your mind. You are losing your program. Let us look at the proof, the common symptoms of this cognitive unraveling. Proof number 1, the disintegration of linear thought. Your thinking process, which was once relatively linear and logical, may now feel scattered, fragmented, and nonlinear. You may have trouble concentrating on complex, left-brain tasks. You may find yourself starting a sentence and completely forgetting what you were about to say. Your short-term memory may feel shot. The hidden voice, the voice of the old program, interprets this as a sign of early-onset dementia or cognitive decline. The truth is, your brain is being rewired. The dominance of the left hemisphere, the logical, analytical, linear part of the brain, is beginning to yield to a greater activation of the right hemisphere, the intuitive, holistic, creative part. You are moving from a purely logical operating system to a more whole-brain operating system. This transition phase can feel messy and chaotic. You are in between systems. The old way of thinking is no longer working, but the new way has not yet come fully online. This is not cognitive decline. It is cognitive evolution. You are not losing your intelligence. You are gaining access to a much deeper, more holistic form of knowing. Proof number 2, the loss of identity and meaning. The things that used to define you, the pillars of your identity, may suddenly feel empty and meaningless. Your career, which you spent decades building, might now feel like a hollow costume. Your social role, your political beliefs, your religious affiliations, they all start to feel like ill-fitting clothes you are eager to shed. This can lead to a profound identity crisis. The hidden voice screams, "Who am I if I am not my job, my beliefs, my story?" This is not a crisis. This is a liberation. It is a necessary and beautiful process of the falls, constructed self-dissolving to make way for the true self. The caterpillar is not dying the chrysalis. It is dissolving its old form so that the butterfly can emerge. The emptiness you feel is not a void of meaninglessness. It is a sacred space of pure potential, the fertile ground from which your true, soul-aligned identity can now begin to grow. Proof number 3, the perception of strangeness. As we have discussed, the world itself begins to look and feel strange. Time seems to bend and stretch. The barrier between your inner world of thoughts and the outer world of events seems to become thin and permeable. Synchronicities accelerate. You think of someone and they call. You ask a question and the answer appears on a billboard. The logical mind fights this. It tries to maintain the old program of a solid, predictable, material world. It tries to convince you that you are imagining things, that you are becoming delusional. But your soul knows. Your soul recognizes that you are starting to perceive the true nature reality, a fluid, responsive, holographic dream, created and sustained by consciousness. You are not losing touch with reality. You are, for the first time, gaining touch with a deeper reality, the reality behind the simulation. The craziness is the sanity of your soul, breaking through the insanity of the materialist illusion. This cognitive unraveling is a sign that the old map of the world, the map given to you by the program, is burning up in the fire of your own awakening consciousness. For a time, you may feel lost in the wilderness without a map. But this is a necessary phase before you learn to navigate not by an old external map, but by the new internal compass of your own living intuition. Part 4, the authority, the shamanic sickness, and the hero's journey. This experience of a breakdown as a prelude to a spiritual breakthrough is not a new phenomenon. It is a classic, well-documented, and honored stage of the spiritual path, described in different languages by different traditions across the globe. In the world of shamanism, it is known as the shamanic sickness or the initiatory crisis. An individual who is destined to become a shaman does not choose the path chooses them. And it often begins with profound and terrifying crisis. They may be struck by a mysterious illness that doctors cannot diagnose. They may be plunged into a state of deep depression or have visions that feel like psychosis. They are socially withdrawn, unable to function in the normal world. The tribe does not see this person as crazy or sick in a conventional sense. They see them as someone who has been called by the spirits. They understand that the initiate is being dismantled. Their old ego structure is being broken down. They are journeying through the underworld of their own psyche, facing their personal and ancestral demons. It is a necessary death so that they can be reborn as a healer. The older shamans of the tribe do not try to cure this sickness. They guide the initiate through it. They provide a safe container for the disintegration and the subsequent reintegration. They know that only someone who has journeyed to the land of the dead in return can guide other souls through their own darkness. The shamanic sickness is a badge of honor. It is the proof of a soul strong enough to be broken open for a greater purpose. In the realm of mythology, the great mythologist Joseph Campbell identified the same pattern in the hero myths of every culture on earth. He called it the hero's journey. Person in lotus position, the hero begins in the ordinary world. But then they receive a call to adventure, a disruption that pulls them out of their comfortable reality. At first, they often refuse the call, afraid of the unknown. But events conspire to push them across the threshold into the special world of the adventure. In this special world, they face a series of trials. They meet allies and enemies, and they journey into the inmost cave, the heart of the darkness, where they must face their greatest fear, their ultimate ordeal. This is the dark night. This is the shamanic sickness. The hero must face a symbolic death. It is only by surviving this death and rebirth that they can seize a sword or claim the elixir, the treasure of their journey. They are then reborn, and they begin the journey back to the ordinary world, to bring the treasure of their experience back to their community. The story of the hero's journey is your story. The craziness you are feeling is your journey into the inmost cave. You are facing the dragon of your own ego. You are dying to your old self. And the treasure you will bring back is the wisdom, the compassion, and the unshakable peace of your own awakened soul. Even in modern psychology, this phenomenon is beginning to be recognized. The field of transpersonal psychology, pioneered by figures like Abraham Maslow and Stanislav Grof, studies the spiritual, transcendent, and mystical aspects of the human experience. Grof coined the term spiritual emergency to describe these intense, disorienting, and often terrifying periods of psycho-spiritual transformation. He argued powerfully that these were not episodes of mental illness, but natural and necessary crises of growth, evolutionary crises that our Western medical model was tragically misdiagnosing and suppressing with medication. The authorities, from the ancient shamans to the modern transpersonal psychologists, are all giving you the same message. You are not sick. You are not crazy. You are on a classic, well-trodden, and sacred path. You are a hero in the midst of your greatest trial. You are an initiate undergoing a shamanic death. You are a soul in the midst of a spiritual emergency. And this process, as chaotic and terrifying as it feels, is not leading to your destruction. It is leading to your liberation. Part 5, A Guide for the Wilderness. Navigating this wilderness of awakening without a map or a guide can be the most challenging experience of a lifetime. The purpose of this session and this entire body of work is to be that map and that guide for you. It is to normalize the process, to validate your experience, and to provide you with the tools and the perspective to move through it with grace, courage, and trust. So, let us now create a simple guide, a set of core principles for navigating the chaos of your own transformation. Principle number 1. You are not broken, you are expanding. This must become your core mantra. Every time you feel the chaos, the fear, the disorientation, I want you to place your hand on your heart and repeat this to yourself, silently or aloud. I am not breaking down. I am breaking open. This simple act of reframing is profoundly powerful. It shifts you from the identity of a patient to the identity of an initiate. It reframes the pain from a symptom of illness to a sign of growth. Principle number 2. Surrender is your superpower. Your ego's instinct is to fight the chaos, to control the process, to manage the symptoms. This is like trying to command the tides of the ocean. It is an exhausting and futile battle. The path through this wilderness is not one of fighting. It is one of radical, courageous surrender. Surrendering to the fatigue. Surrendering to the emotions that need to be released. Surrendering to the not knowing. Surrender is not weakness. It is the ultimate trust in the intelligence of your soul's journey. Your soul knows the way. Your only job is to get your struggling, fearful ego out of the way and let your soul do its work. Principle number 3, anchor in the physical. When your mind is unraveling and your emotions are a storm, your greatest ally is the simple, solid reality of your physical body and the earth. This is your anchor. Practice embodiment. Feel your feet on the ground. Go for a walk in nature. Pay attention to the raw data of your senses, the feeling of the sun on your skin, the sound of the birds, the taste of your food. Eat simple, grounding foods. Take a bath. These are not trivial actions. They are sacred acts of anchoring your expanding consciousness into the stabilizing energy of the earth. Principle number 4, curate your energy field. During this time, you are energetically wide open, like a psychic wound. You are incredibly sensitive. It is absolutely essential that you become a fierce guardian of your own energy field. This means consciously choosing what you allow in. Turn off the mainstream news. Unfollow the social media accounts that generate fear and anger. Gently create distance from people who are deeply negative, critical, or draining. Your sensitivity is not a flaw. It is a sign of your attunement, but you must protect it. Surround yourself with beauty, with nature, with harmonious music, with people who feel safe and loving. Your environment is not just a backdrop. It is a direct influence on your vibrational state. These principles are your lifeline in the storm. They are the map for the wilderness. If you are ready to commit to using these tools, to navigate your awakening with conscious grace instead of unconscious fear, then I invite you to make that commitment real. Click the like button. Let it be a signal that you are choosing to become an active, courageous participant in your own evolution. You are not a victim of this process. You are its hero. By sharing this, you are throwing a lifeline to other heroes who may be feeling lost in their own dark forests. Let's guide each other home. Part 6. From Deconstruction to Reconstruction, the emergence of the new self. The process of awakening is not one of endless chaos. The demolition phase, as terrifying as it can be, is always followed by a phase of reconstruction. The chrysalis does not remain a formless goo forever. After the old caterpillar structure is completely dissolved, a new organizing principle begins to emerge. The imaginal cells, the cells that hold the blueprint for the butterfly, begin to connect, to multiply, to weave themselves into a new, more beautiful, and far more capable form. You are in this process now, and even amidst the chaos of the deconstruction, you can begin to notice the signs of the reconstruction. You can see the proof that a new you is beginning to emerge from the ruins of the old one. Proof number 1, the emergence of the inner observer. As we have discussed, the most fundamental sign of awakening is the shift of identity from the thoughts to the awareness that is watching the thoughts. You begin to notice that you are not the noisy, anxious narrator in your head. You are the silent, peaceful space in which that narrator appears. This is the first and most important structural beam of your new house being put into place. The emergence of the inner witness provides an unshakable foundation of peace, a calm center in the eye of the transformational storm. You may still feel the winds of change blowing, but you are no longer being blown away by them. You are anchored in the stillness of your own true nature. Proof number 2, a new relationship with truth. The old you derived its sense of truth from external authorities, from science, from religion, from the news, from your culture. The new you begins to access a different source of truth, an inner source. You begin to develop and trust your intuition. You start to know things without knowing how you know them. You can feel if a person or a situation is in alignment with you or not. You begin to trust the quiet resonance in your own heart over the loud opinions of the world. This is a profound shift in sovereignty. You are unplugging from the external information matrix and plugging into the living, loving intelligence of your own soul. You are becoming your own oracle. Proof number 3, the dissolving of old desires. You start to notice that the things the world told you to want no longer hold the same appeal. The desire for excessive wealth, for fame, for status, for the approval of the crowd. It all starts to seem a bit hollow, a bit childish. The hunger of the ego is being replaced by the longing of the soul. Your desires become simpler and yet more profound. You no longer desire to have more, but to be more. You desire peace. You desire love. You desire authenticity. You desire a deeper connection with nature, with the divine. You desire to be of service. This shift in desire is a sign that your new, soul-based operating system is coming online. Proof number 4, an increase in synchronicity. As your own energy field becomes more coherent and aligned with your soul's purpose, the universe begins to speak to you more directly. The glitches in the matrix become more frequent. You think of a question, and the answer appears. You have a need, and the right person or resource shows up, as if by magic. This is not magic. It is resonance. You are beginning to consciously co-create with the intelligent field of life. You are moving from a world of random accident into a world of meaningful orchestration. You are learning the language of the dream, and you are realizing that the dreamer is on your side. These are the signs. These are the green shoots pushing up through the rubble of your old life. These are the proof that you are not breaking down. You are being reborn. And the being that is emerging is more authentic, more powerful, and more you than the person you've been pretending to be your entire life. Part 7. The crazy ones who change the world. Let us now look at the social and historical context of this craziness. For the systems of control in our world have always had a vested interest in pathologizing the awakened individual. The person who is waking up is the greatest threat to a system that thrives on a sleeping population. Throughout history, the mystics, the visionaries, the revolutionaries of consciousness have almost always been labeled as crazy by the establishment of their time. Jesus was seen as a dangerous madman, a blasphemer who was upsetting the established religious and political order. His talk of an inner kingdom, of a direct relationship with God, was a profound threat to the temple priesthood. Joan of Arc, the young girl who heard the voices of angels and led an army, was condemned as a heretic and a witch and burned at the stake. Her craziness was a threat to the patriarchal structures of both the church and the state. The great mystics like Saint Teresa of Avila and Saint John of the Cross, who wrote their ecstatic unions with God and their terrifying dark nights of the soul, were often viewed with deep suspicion by the Orthodox Church authorities and were subject to the scrutiny of the Inquisition. Their direct, personal experience of the divine bypassed the need for the official intermediaries. In more recent times, pioneers of consciousness like Wilhelm Reich, who spoke of a universal life force energy he called orgone, was relentlessly persecuted by the American medical establishment and died in prison. His work was a threat to a medical model that was becoming increasingly mechanical and pharmaceutical. This pattern is clear. The system, the simulation, has a powerful immune response. And when it detects a consciousness that is operating outside of its accepted parameters, it sends out its antibodies to attack, to ridicule, to discredit, or to medicate that consciousness back into conformity. The famous Apple advertising campaign from 1997 had a slogan that is a profound spiritual truth. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the ones who see things differently, because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. You are one of these crazy ones. Your breakdown is a breaking away from consensus trance. Your anxiety is the friction of your soul expanding beyond the tight container of the old paradigm. Your delusions of synchronicity and meaning are the first glimmers of a higher order reality. You are not going crazy. You are joining a lineage, a sacred, hidden lineage of all the mystics, the shamans, the heroes, and the visionaries who have ever dared to wake up from the shared dream and to chart a course for a new world. Your personal crisis of awakening is not just personal. It is a part of a planetary process. You are a cell in the body of humanity that is waking up, and your personal transformation is your irreplaceable contribution to the transformation of the whole. So, when the hidden voice or the voices of the world try to label you as crazy, you can now smile with a secret, quiet understanding. You can say to yourself, "Thank you for confirmation. I must be doing something right. Part 8. The still point, your anchor in the storm. In the midst of this profound and often tumultuous process, it is essential to have an anchor, a place of refuge, a still point in the turning world. We have already identified this place. It is a silent, unchanging witness, the forgotten you. The cultivation of your ability to rest in this awareness is the single most important skill you can develop during your awakening. This is your sanctuary. This is your sanity. When the waves of emotion are crashing over you, you can return to the anchor of the witness. You can watch the waves from the safety of the shore, knowing you are not the wave. When the winds of chaotic thoughts are howling through your mind, you can return to the anchor of the witness. You can sit in the quiet room of your awareness and simply watch the storm rage outside, knowing you are not the storm. When the ground of your old identity is shaking and crumbling beneath your feet, you can return to the anchor of the witness. You can plant your feet on the unshakable ground of pure being, which is your true foundation. Let us practice finding this anchor now in a way that is simple and can be used at any moment of your day. This is a practice of dropping anchor. Right now, wherever you are, just stop for a moment. Take one conscious breath and ask yourself the simple question, am I aware? The answer is always, inevitably, yes. The question itself brings you directly into the state of awareness. In that moment of, yes, just rest in the feeling of being aware. It is a simple, open, quiet feeling. It is the forgotten you. For just 1 second, 2 seconds, 5 seconds, just be the awareness. Be the space. That's it. That's the whole practice. You can do this at any time. When you're feeling overwhelmed at work, when you are in a difficult conversation, when you are stuck in traffic, when you are lying in bed, unable to sleep, stop, breathe. Am I aware? Yes. Rest. Each time you do this, you are strengthening your connection to your true self. You are creating a neural pathway of remembrance. You are building a muscle of consciousness. At first, you may only be able to hold that awareness for a second before the mind pulls you back into the story. But with practice, you will be able to rest there for longer and longer periods. This is your refuge. This is the still point. The world may continue to be chaotic. Your personal transformation may continue to be intense. But you have found an inner sanctuary of peace that is utterly untouched by the turmoil. You will have discovered that your true home is not a place you must strive to get to, but a presence you can relax into at any moment, no matter what is happening. This is the ultimate proof that you are not going crazy. The essence of psychosis is to be completely lost in the dream of the mind, with no awareness that it is a dream. The essence of sanity is to be aware of the dream as a dream. And every time you drop anchor into the silent awareness of the witness, you are affirming your own deep, unshakable sanity. You are remembering who you are, and that remembrance is the only medicine you will ever need. Part 9, From Patient to Physician, the integration of a healer. There's a final, beautiful turn in this journey of awakening. As you become more stable in your connection to forgotten you, as you learn to navigate the chaos of your transformation with grace and trust, a new impulse begins to arise within you. It is the impulse to be of service. The shaman, after surviving the initiatory sickness and returning from the underworld, does not simply retire to a quiet life. They become a healer. They become a guide for others. They use the map of their own dark journey to help other souls navigate theirs. The hero, after slaying the dragon and claiming the treasure, does not keep it for themselves. They return to the ordinary world and share the elixir with their community, healing the wasteland. This is a natural and organic unfolding. As your own suffering diminishes, a profound compassion for the suffering of others arises. As your own fear dissolves, a deep desire to help others find their own courage emerges. You have walked through the fire, and you now know the way. And you cannot help but want to hold a lantern for those who are still lost in the dark. This is the emergence of the healer archetype within you. You realize that every tear you have shed, every moment of terror you have endured, every bit of your craziness, was not just for you. It was your training. It was your initiation. It was your medical school. The universe was not just breaking you open for your own liberation. It was preparing you to be an instrument of liberation for others. How does this service manifest? It may not be what you think. You do not necessarily need to become a therapist, a spiritual teacher, or a formal healer. For many, the service is much quieter, much more subtle. You become a space holder. Your very presence, now anchored in the stillness of the witness, becomes a healing force. When you sit and listen to a friend in turmoil, you are not just listening with your ears. You are listening with the vast, open, non-judgmental space of your awareness. And in that sacred space, they feel safe enough to allow their own pain to surface and release. You have not done anything. You have simply been the sanctuary. You become a truth teller. Because you are no longer afraid of what others think. You can speak a simple, compassionate truth into a situation that is mired in denial and illusion. Your words, coming from a place of alignment, can cut through the fog like a laser. You become a frequency anchor by simply going about your day, at the grocery store, at the office, in your family, and consciously holding the frequency of peace, of love, of compassion. You are doing a profound service to collective. You are a walking, talking, tuning fork, gently and silently reminding the world of its own forgotten harmony. The journey that began with a terrifying feeling of, I'm going crazy, has now come full circle. You have moved from being the patient to being the physician of the soul. You have transmuted your own deepest wound into your greatest gift. You realize that your breakdown was, in fact, the breakdown of the illusion and the breakthrough of your true purpose. And your purpose is simply to be the living proof that it is possible to wake up. Part 10, the epiphany, the sanity of the cosmos. And so we arrive at the final, quiet, and profoundly sane realization, the final proof. You have journeyed from the fear of your own madness to the recognition of your unshakable, silent self. You have reframed your symptoms as your superpowers. You have understood your personal breakdown as a sacred, initiatory path. And now, you look out at the world, and you see it with new eyes. You see the chaos, the conflict, the seemingly senseless suffering. You see the inmates of the asylum, running in their circles of fear and desire, believing their delusions to be real. And the old you might have despaired, the old you might have judged, but the reconnected you, the you that is anchored in the peace of the witness, sees something else entirely. Beneath the surface chaos, you can now perceive a vast, loving, and supremely intelligent order. You see that the entire cosmos, with all its seeming madness, is a perfectly designed, self-correcting, and benevolent school for the awakening of souls. You see that every crisis is a catalyst. Every challenge is a curriculum. Every ending is a new beginning. You realize that nothing is wrong. Nothing has ever been wrong. The entire universe is in a state of grace. The simulation is not a malevolent prison. It is a divine playground, a cosmic chrysalis, designed by the One Life to facilitate its own magnificent unfolding. The craziness of the world is not a sign of its random, meaningless nature. It is a sign of its labor pains. It is the chaos that precedes the birth of a new, more conscious reality. And in this final perception, the last vestiges of your own personal fear dissolve. Because you realize that the same loving, intelligent, and sane force that is guiding the evolution of the entire cosmos is the very same force that is guiding your own personal awakening. You are not a fragile being. Try to navigate a chaotic universe. You are a perfect expression of that sane and loving universe, navigating itself. You can finally completely relax. You can trust the process. You can trust your own craziness. You can trust the craziness of the world. It is all held. It is all perfect. It is all leading infallibly to a greater light. The final proof that you are not going crazy is the realization that the universe itself is profoundly, unshakably, and divinely sane. And you are its beloved and perfectly sane child. You are not going crazy. You are just waking up to a world that has been. Trust the process. Trust your soul. You are being guided. If this message has brought peace and clarity to your journey, subscribe and continue to walk this path of sane and beautiful awakening with us. The most chaotic moments are often the ones closest to the breakthrough, and your breakthrough is here.